like that, the internet just cut. While I'm all excited and telling all you my true stories. The people wants to know. And not only that, but big brother Henry took the money grandfather gave him to give me and said that I had more money than him. And unless I could prove how I get it, he wasn't going to let me have any of it. I have to prove how I got it. So as my money coming back, I love him. I have more money than a fucking parents. But why I don't have it? It's because he took it. Because I justify how I got all of that. And that's because I had forgotten all of these years growing up and all of the stories and all of the experiences. Work, school, home, church, and in between little limes. My life became that with David Alexander. That I forgot all of these fun escapades, I would call them, with my family. And then the assault and all of that. So nonetheless, while I was in this meeting, slowly, these people are through these different activities and whatnot, it's reminding me of these events, right? And I remember cussing him out because I hungry and didn't have no patience to deal with anybody and tell them they will rent it because he says a machine. I say a machine. I say, well, if it's a machine, you're gonna freaking rent it, right? Because I am selling nothing. And when I said that, he said very well. He said I fear. They said I fear, right? I fear enough. So they asked how much I want for it, right? And I told them $1 million. I told him $1 million. And when I said $1 million, Mr. Man screamed out from across the hall. I saw what, let's come here. $1 million, Tim, a week, me, a week. Now, everybody start to laugh down the place. Who knows? They laugh. That man didn't shout out. If that man didn't shout out a week, and if I didn't say a week, $1 million a week it was rented out for. So they asked for how long? $1 million a week for how long? Because $1 million a week, that's quite a lot, you know? And I forgot how much years. I think I said 5 years. Yeah, that's what happened. When the man say a week, he put up his hands, so tell him, hold on, because he wanted to come across the street with me. We were on two different sides, let's say probably two different realms. So when he said, he said, I was like, not trying to motion thing because as a girl, as a young lady, I didn't shout in school. But I did this, like, just not coming. And then wait there, I will come across him. And when I do so, somebody said 5 years. A week. All I had to do after that was sign documents. But he said that I was too young to sign any documents. So he signed it and he put my name on it. But it was my invention from a child that I want something I wanted. And I got for my birthday. And with these local scientists, Rudranath Capildeo, right? That's what happened. Now, I'll tell you this thing about Mr. Rudranath Capildeo, and that is one of the reasons my grandfather told me to keep my mouth shut about my work and what I do, right? That's why I don't talk about my schoolwork until I pass the exam or until if it's a project or whatever, until it comes into implementation and, it's in the monitoring stage or feedback stage or 5 years has passed and the manifesto has been fulfilled. Then I start talking about it because what he explained to me, the Indian man who talked about Rudranath, he said his name is Rudranath. And when he said, because they used to call him Rudra for short, and Nath. Now, they put Rudranath's name under a pseudonym. And the reason they did that is because in our country, if you are in politics, you cannot have businesses in your name. That's one of the criterias in being a government worker. You can't have businesses in your name. Later on, I think they had changed it. You can't have businesses in your name making a certain level of income, because people could say you're using your business to smuggle money or embezzle money from the government. And then I heard stories. I guess different offices has different rules, right? And then I heard there's another thing that you, as a government minister, you cannot have businesses without the approval of the government. They say, but if you are head of the government, who are you getting permission from? So that's why they say they shouldn't have any business at all. That's why you find that they put their business names in their brother, sister, uncle, auntie, mother name, but it's their business. You understand? So they get their family involved and they, contracts or work for them to help keep them up there. So what happened with him is that when he told people what was his name, he had nothing to verify that that was his pseudonym. And the only person who could have verified it was this man, grandfather. And I heard that the people in our country was pressuring him, one, and two, to try to win the general elections. He wanted financing. He was trying to reach out to get monies from and whatnot. And he went about it the wrong way because he went through some people who were very racial. And I told you they killed my own son for the cure of HIV/AIDS and cancer. I know what I'm telling you, okay? Members of the public, Trinidad and Tobago, you are looking at the mother of a victim of this. So don't even think about saying that I wanted Rudranath Capildeo dead. The man dead long before born. Now, what happened is these people, if they didn't invent it, one, they get jealous. So when they see the sizable amount of income that your innovation could bring to your country, that's putting your country above their country. And they don't like that. It's a type of espionage, political espionage, right? They sometimes kill you. So, or three, they kill you and take your invention and sell it in the black market or sell your things, right? So there's three things that I know for sure that they say that people do to people like that. That's why I say protect our scientists. Protect them. They have brilliant ideas. They have the potential. They have the knowledge, but they are not protected. Simple things as messing with their diet, messing with their psyche, making them think that they're crazy or sick or mental. And what's wrong with a scientist touching up your own self? That he business, right? He's not going after anybody's daughter. He's not going after anybody's son, right? That's his way of releasing his stress within himself. And they will use that to make that person feel like there's some sick, psychopathic person. Before they just wean them up and say, boy, one day you'll get a wife, stop using Pam and Pamela. Pam and Pamela, get it? Right. So, make it up like a joke and wean them up for that bad behavior. But I wouldn't say bad behavior, but bad habit. That's all. No, you want to kill them and destroy their psyche and make people feel this them kind of psychopath people. And in doing that, all they put up real people who just kill people and eat them. Real cannibals in real life, all they put. The other day watching a video and a man making a burger, and you could see that is human flesh. And somebody say, you see, they haven't changed nothing up there. Everything is the same. So make sure them people go close to them people. And they're saying they have to symbolize it with that first before they can get real meat. You understand what I'm showing you? So on its pedotish, and I know this world is a nasty place. Anyhow, we wanted to win the elections. And this is the story they told me. He tried to reach out, and when he went asking, he told the people what he did. And they wanted him to recreate it. And I was told that he did. Either he recreated it or he drew the picture or something of that effect, and the person paid some people, some white boys, paid some people to kill him. And they took that. What they didn't know it was that it was already patented in another country. You understand? So they didn't get through with much. It was patented already under a different pseudonym. So when they saw the pseudonym, and the pseudonym sounded like an English name, because they hated his color. He was a black Indian, and they hated his race because that's a caste. You understand? There's not far up you could climb being black, Indian, or Negro. Unless you have the right support and backing, you can go through the 9 realms. And these are the places you can only get past 1 layer or 2, if you're so lucky. So that's why they team up and put a lot of money for people to climb past that. And that's why some of them just even kill to protect the children and family and anybody who reach higher than level 2. You understand? It's that serious. Money, power, and politics. So when this particular guy when he passed away, they said he was the reason he passed away because he trusted the wrong people. He had the right backing, the right support and everything, but he thought he could have gotten money from another source to bring in that income. That's why I was taught by him who to take money from and who not to take money from. So I see something and I accept it because I was forewarned who I could take money from and who I cannot take money from in advance. God forbid some of that change along the way. Because when we say we will do something, even if it takes 10 years, we do it. Right? Because our word is our bond. Right? So brotherhood, sisterhood, fighting, defenders of the faith, fighters for the good cause, all the same thing. So when when I saw that today, I couldn't help it. I wanted to scream and then I hit my foot under the table like, oh. When I hit my foot, I was like, when I'm screaming, but yes, your foot and I'm trying to hold back the pain that I can't help but feel happy. Because I'm seeing this and I just wrote the gentleman's name on the paper, pretty well spelled. I wrote it next to his pseudonym because I know which one was his pseudonym and I knew which one was the other person's pseudonym. And the reason he told me he wrote that pseudonym, he said, because if people see how much things he has, even though a lot of it goes to people, they will want to kill him for it or go into war with him for it. So he invested for himself as well, but he put his name under a pseudonym. So one of the things they did was allow him to put, I think, a design or a line or something on it to say, well, it's part of it, which is what they allowed me to do when it was my turn to invest. They allowed me to put the colors, the font size, or the font shape, or whatever. So that was my contribution. But nonetheless, it is something that can be patented and it is of value. A lot of things people scripted, they should prove to them an O and a 0, how detrimental it is if you can differentiate between the two. All right? So don't mess with these people and doing the correct thing and, understanding the value of what seems to be nothing at all. And I got my name on some things as well. So it's like that. And as I go along and I start to remember some things, I'm like, oh my God, look at how much. That is what he was trying to bring down. But what I said no to, remember I told you that people literally tried to kill me because I was telling people in the world to not be promiscuous, that having sex in your anus is against God's law, it's not clean, it's unhealthy, you damage yourself, it's not healthy, it's not clean, it's not pleasant, right? And as I was teaching people these things, people hated me so much so that they wanted to kill me because apparently it was bad for their type of business. So growing up, I had invested in something, not knowing exactly what it was. And some of it that I knew what it was very tasteful. So I said, I like it. I like it. I will say, because you're not seeing them doing anything. It's not, but there was a bit of nudity, so I invested in it. Now, they wanted to give me back money from that because in those industries, you get a lot of turnover really quickly. They wanted to give me that money first, and I said, no, I don't want it. Because what they wanted to do was give me the money and then try to use me or my children like that. And the reason I said I don't want it and for them to keep it, let the people who did those things keep it, it's because it's your mother, right? And I'm not going to put my children through that shit, literally. So, and spiritually. So I told these people who did that, keep it. And then I got to find out that some of these girls in this village have AI children who were literally eating shit from cup and all kind of nastiness and that kind of level of porn video and wanted money from it. Thinking that I invested in that. I did not invest in that level of shit. And I'm making that very clear for all of you children growing up. Mommy loves you, but mommy never, she has class and decorum. What I talk about as porn is some nudity when a man and a woman kiss and make love on camera and they're married and they are children and big business and then somebody come and, pass away and after the funeral they, from each other, secrets and all kind of bacchanal, that kind of thing. And when I say passed away, nobody killing nobody. Death is a natural part of life. And as it happens in senior age, then secrets are let out, as all things do. All right? Will and thing come out. This person's name was on this for that, and who is this person? And then they find out they have a step sibling, and then this is why and how long she was the secret person behind it all, and all these type of little things. So I'm so happy to tell dear Henry that there's not a hole in my bucket, dear Henry, there's not a hole in my bucket, dear Henry, no hole. So you know what you have to do? Make sure I'm put my name on something. I'm hungry these days, because I'm still an assistant teacher since 2012. Since I graduated from school since 2012, I am still, literally still, an assistant teacher. I recently was offered the position to go to a secondary school and the government changed their policy. I think they said last week they changed up some policies and I'm stranded career-wise in the same position that I am in. So even though the offer was given and I have accepted, because the government changed their policy very much recently, nothing has happened for me. I'm depending on some of these investments. All right, I am depending on some of these investments. Okay. Now, imagine one of the characters from such movies happen to meet a princess, seduces her, invests in her, and then for her, invest in all of their children, and having a good thing going, invest in drugs like pharmaceuticals, and just when things were about to get very heated and good, people just mash it up because they know money. These people now have to pay for all of those things, and I want to see how they're going to do it without me or my family money. Because I'm not paying for no crimes. You understand? A man could get raped. And from my investigations, these women literally drugged him and raped him, and in some instances, threw themselves on him and tell him that it's free of charge. It's free of charge. You get pregnant and then you wife mine him out of he wife money. You see, are you mad? That's like me coming by your husband because you sleep with my husband. I want to take your husband money for it. I must pip you out. Because that was daddy's job. before he met the princess. Now, bear in mind that I did not at any time endorse pornography. Understand what I'm saying? Tasteful movies and dirty little nasty pornography is two different things. And I'm making that clear because a lot of people came to my house and cussed me out saying I stink. That was not me. That was not my doing. Somebody tricked all it. No, I never spoke as a child, so I never discussed or described anything. I did not describe my investment, no investors. But dear brother Henry, who has all of my money that grandfather brought to me, insists that he's not going to give me anything unless I start defending how I have more money than him. And hear the words now. I am younger and poor and black. So how I could reach up higher than him and have more than him. So he thought I was in pornography and selling my body to people. Now this part I want you to know, and parents, be careful. My stepfather could have asked for that because when people were talking, they came home and tell him, and I started to cry and tell him, thinking he would go and, kill or shoot somebody or something. He had nothing. Nobody defended me. I started to cry. You know who defended me? My family defended me, and I got a little $45 million today, and now waiting on Justin Timberlake to come down and let me tell that. Right? That is just my part of it. They used to take a camera. I was captain of the football team, but in my first year in playing football at secondary school, I was not captain. But I played really hard, and after the captain left, I was the captain. This I recently found out, and I'm very humiliated by it. And this is my formal way of telling those who were telling me about it, and I was denying it out of ignorance, that I'm sorry. And for those who were calling me names and saying I'm a slut and a whore and a porn star, may it fall on your children's head that you will see what they go through and know that I was a victim. These girls, while I was in the changing room, were paid money by some boys, and in some instances, young men. Yes, so they would put cameras in the toilet and camcorders in the toilet and in the changing room, and they would cover it with clothing. So I would see it and think, oh, those girls messy. They just take off uniforms and just drop it there. And I wouldn't interfere with it. I don't interfere with people's clothes. I don't touch people's clothes. Anybody who live with me will tell you I don't touch your people's clothes. The only people's clothes I will touch is my cousins because I like to wear up their stuff. But that's because they're my cousins and I like to harass them. Right? It's something I do to harass them. But outside of that, I don't touch people's clothes. It's a thing I was brought up not to do. So when I didn't touch their clothes or whatever, I didn't know there was a camera underneath there. And I remember one of the days while bathing in the shower, I don't know how much of it they picked of me until one day a fella told me that he saw my work. And I said, my work? He said, I know what happened. He said, that wasn't work. He said, them girls and them was taping you because they realized I was doing good in my schoolwork. I was captain of the team. There was these people coming in school and scouting. My name had called for the national football team of Trinidad and Tobago. All right. I had been, well, we won a gold medal, a literal gold medal for our zone. It was donated by Ryan Gosling. And I have to say, close dear Ryan. You're such a lovely actor, such a talented man, a beautiful family guy, right? God doesn't give everybody the right to go in the man's personal business. Support him as a fan. Now, what was I saying? You're right. And then, I was winning competitions in school, calypso competition, poetry competition. Oh, sorry, I'll speak softer. I was winning competitions in school. I may not have come out first, but I was in the top 5. When we had sports day, I would come out in the top 5, top 3, whatever, depending. Top 30, if there was 150 people, I would be in the top 30 people, right? So in some instances, I didn't win, but I participated well. And then there were some instances where I won. So I spoke with my principal recently and told her about these videos and these pictures. I said, Miss, I don't know how much of it that they taped of me, but I remember now when I was a teenager, the girls left their cameras in the changing room and there was clothes over it. When I was finished bathing and the girls came inside, they took up their clothes and one of them said, well, who left my camera here? Oops. And she just said, that's just how she said, oops. And she picked it up and she went out. So that was clearly an indication, circumstantial evidence. She left it on and she left it there purposefully. Because just the way she said, oops, I felt something in my heart though. Like, I don't know, it's like a feeling of betrayal, vexation, right? It was a mixture of feeling. And I just looked at them and like, whatever. And something they were talking, and when these girls was looking at it, they said, no, she's looking better than we. I asked some, who may I ask? And they became curious, all of them watching this camcorder and talking or whatever, and saying she looking better than we, she looking hotter than we, and all kinds of things. So when I asked, they said nobody, and one of them watch up and see and goes down and slap it and say, oh, you know what will you do, His Majesty? So I was like, His Majesty for us is God. Majesty, worship His Majesty. So for us, Majesty is God. So I wanted to know what the hell they do. God must be some dirty videos, some pornography or something that they, and I just dismissed it like, whatever, I don't need to see it. Right? So when she said that, I said, I don't need to see it. It's all right. Just the way the girl said His Majesty, because I had a fear for God. If I heard the name God, His Majesty, I am Almighty God, I just trembled inside and just didn't want to do nothing even. I didn't even want to look at a rum bottle, let alone drink it. That was the level of sacred that I had in me. I'm not joking. That's why when I got hit in my head with the football, I survived. And when they dropped that piece of iron on my foot, sorry, didn't get broken, and I was able to walk and move. All right. That's why when they shot me, the birth went through and through, and I got immediate healing. When I got home, my mother came over me when I was lying on my bed, feeling me up, and I said, shower she had and say, what happened to you? Because my mother don't feel me up like a pervert. I tell you, the woman feel me, rub me between my breasts. And I just like, Mom! I just said, Gina, you don't go and get yourself in no trouble outside. And I was like, "Look at this boys." I said, not a bullet hole. Yet the video that record show it pass straight through and through. You understand? And one of the things a gentleman said, he said, if it is true, if it is not true, sorry, he said she go live. He said, whatever they do, if it's not true, she go live. So you understand? I didn't take out pornography pictures of myself or pornographic pictures of myself. I didn't do that. I didn't sanction that. I didn't tell them to do that. Those were, what do you say, hate crime? Those girls did that to me because they hate that I was successful in school and very focused and had a fear for God most of all. So when they were talking about drinking and liming and boyfriend and thing, I didn't have those stories and I wasn't interested in it. And when I finally became interested, it was very much proverbial and then led to marriage. All right? So I asked the principal and she told me, well, you're a teacher now. And I told them, Miss, I'm getting close. And some of these people have these pictures still. All right. Some of these people told me when I remember talking to people and they said, we have your picture on our wall still. For us, you're a hero. And one of them said that they got married and their wife tore it down. And I was like, she has every right to. And he said, you don't understand. That got that guy his first big break. His first big break was with that picture. And I'm like, what? Was I being pimped? Are they saying she was being pimped out? You know, and I'm like, what? Because I'm hearing other people saying in the background, like, you know, that's when they sued these people for leaking these pictures and selling it to tabloids without permission and seeing that it was in the privacy of, you know, a supposedly safe environment. They realized they had no right to do that, and that's when they sued and got some money. So that's why my father told me, don't go anywhere and do anything without this particular guy, because he was kind of so from day one. So whatever him and I do, whatever nonsense we do, however naked, whatever silliness, foolishness, laughing we do, youthful days, we get paid for it because it was set up like that from day one. All right? And then I get to later find out that his wife, who is now his wife now, apparently she started filming him with all the girls that he was ever with. She started filming it and had a porn site. And when she had this porn site up, she started selling it and marketing it. Some of these things had rapes in it. Some of these things had virgin porn, virgin rape, and it started to become very distasteful. Because what she started to do to make money off of her own husband was manipulate him, drug him, and put these women in his path, which is why he couldn't stop himself. Because he's the type of person, if you say stop, he just smiles and pulls back. That's it. If he comes to your face and you just start pulling away, he smiles, he stops, and he pulls back. If he comes to you and you're like, I apologize, and he pulls back, you don't have to say a word. If he comes to you and you start crying with a cry girl face, don't be afraid, I won't hurt you. He'll talk, and if you just look at him and don't say a word, he'll excuse himself. That's the person he is. He doesn't push himself on you. He allows you to be in a state where you are comfortable and then allow you to come to him. And he told his friends that one thing he couldn't understand was, why was it that I never came to him? And everything he said, how he looked, everything he was doing, why I didn't come to him. And that was when somebody said, matters of the heart. She looked for the soul connection. She looked for more. Somebody said long term husband thing. Mm-hmm. Not husband thing, sorry, husband and wife thing. That's what the words say. You say husband and wife thing, husband and wife thing. So you see, they know what buttons to press to test you as a woman, as a girl, as a child, to see how far you will go and how far you have gone, without even so much as touching your anatomy or looking at it. That's when you know they have something. So what he didn't know is it was his current wife was doing that to him, and people had felt very sorry for him, and they had personally asked me to get into contact with him and tell him what's happening, because he didn't know what she was doing to him to make a living. And then she would guilt him and tell him he's having an affair and all kind of thing to make him spend money on her. Jewels and trips and gifts, lavish gifts. Sorry. So you see how dreadsome for women are? I just started to feel so sorry for him, because I remember the good days growing up as kids were how it was like. It wasn't so bad. You understand? We had our previous ways. but it wasn't so bad. We didn't do that to people. We did wicked things. Like, give wrong direction, make them reach late for rehearsal, but not late they lose your job or opportunity, yeah? Just late enough so you can have a laugh or have them get buffed by the person in charge. You see what is our level of wickedness and indecent behavior? This thing they have nowadays with drugging children and raping children and saying that wasn't us one bit. So what I set up as a road entertainment and a road through entertainment, they brought these conniving women who have no talent and who resort on exploitation of people's bodies and talent for their living. And then they turn it around to say, I did that. And had a lot of people coming up to my mother's house asking for money. And I'm like, what? I was like, girl, the government owe me if you vex. Thinking is that they're talking about? Because when people having trade union discussions, they used to ask me my opinion, huh? I thought it was that. Me, I know it's this Tabacanal they're talking about because some of the kids thought they were going to be paid by her when you're poached. You see how serious this is. When his wife started to do him that, the other woman thought she could do the other one the same thing. And that was one of the reasons he became bankrupt as well. So they started to do the two guys that. And the two of them thought it was my doing until one of them said no. And the other one said, I know her too, it's not her. Because they started to use my pseudonyms and they started to tell people in the public it's my doing. The same way in some instances they started to say Dolce was selling cocaine when it was marijuana. He smoked marijuana in small quantities, just like practically everybody in the village did. How come them never go to jail? But it was what work he was doing for a bigger purpose that they didn't want happening. Everybody in the village, this whole area is Amerindian people. The Amerindians from St. Vincent traveled all the way to the North Coast and came. Half of the people here is from St. Vincent Amerindian tribes. So I know what I'm saying. And marijuana is part of the Amerindian heritage. That's why, to a certain degree, in the Caribbean, they don't lock them up unless you are trafficking in large amounts. And they made it out like if this man was a big cocaine seller because they started to say drugs, and started to make it sound so bad. Imagine all these other religions had to hide back in the day. Baptist people had to hide from their drumming. East Indian people never had to hide their religion. They gave them the opportunity to run around the pig path. They used to just laugh a little bit at them and call them puhar, but they never stopped them from their worship. Christian people got beaten for reading the Bible, right? African people couldn't practice their religions at all. Amerindians people, same thing. Why? It didn't involve killing people because the Amerindians didn't have sacrifices. They had punishment by law. If you were a thief, they would hang you and stab you to death. If you were found for rape, they would castrate you. But there was no such thing as blood sacrifices among the Amerindian people. They didn't believe in fighting, killing somebody for no reason. They would have fights to the death. But they wouldn't just kill you for God. You would have to go into a battle for God. You understand? All right. Now, my little sister said my brother wants to sleep, so I won't talk I'm trying not to talk too loud, but I have to get this out of me because it means to say that I made a lot of money as a child. And as a child, that money came from my inventions, my ideas as a child, that these people were paid to take very seriously. And I had met one of the scientists who was on that panel. And he told me he was one of the persons that were asked to listen to me as a child and take my ideas very seriously. He said, but as they grew and they saw how much money a child was making, and it wasn't even her doing, but just her ideas that other people had and had even greater amounts, they became a bit envious. They said, but when they saw what she did with the money and how much people she helped and how much people she helped for their own, right? It made them understand and respect her. And he said that they were laying her in a trap to kill her. To kill her? He said, yes. These people like her, but these other people will not allow her to be with them. They prefer white. Even though she's high-colored, they prefer a full white person. They said she's richer than all of them put together, but they will try to kill her and take her things just because she's not white like them. Even though she's richer, sir? Even though. So he now vouched, because being one of the scientists who was there, and being one of the scientists who had to listen carefully and perhaps interpret the colloquial terms, English or whatever other language, that's when they were told to do. Listen carefully to what she's saying. Right? And a lot of people don't understand that. So when I say I want somebody make a child for me, I don't want to make my own children to mash up my good sheep. I was so rich that people took that very seriously. You understand? But the whole village that they try to replicate, I never say for everybody in the village to make children. I'm not paying for that. I only paying for me. I never tell anybody in the village make children. I said everybody in the village wanted to make children. Oh, let you stop and get old and quail up and hard and they make a children of egg and man. I said I would make children, but I don't need a man. And I will not make children and mash up my good body. I will have people do that for me. And I was that rich enough to get surrogate mothers to do that. And they became rich. So people who didn't understand the story, Marco Polo, okay? People who didn't understand the story and didn't understand what I had and what was happening for me because of what and how I was spending money and asking them to do things to me, and didn't understand that these people were being paid, thought that they could go ahead in life and do things similar to me and they would get paid without finding out the full story. One, I was being attacked. Two, I wasn't going to let no 13-year-old child, don't mind a half Indian in there, make no child no young age. I wanted to get experience in life and education, some business, all of that before I go and get married. A house, a land, a car. See them three things? How much time I get it and they take it away or they mash it up? Right? I don't know what they're waiting on. Them have to go up there first, like if them is king and queen. That's why happen in rotten now before they go. They do it the wrong way. They extort a child of God. A child of God who mine all out of she pocket money. The point where she lost herself because she became so low, she became low among these classless girls. And you all watch them on TV and rape them up. And they sell half all their children in pornography out there and all that. So when those pornographic videos get leaked, or resurfaces, do not for a second say I was involved in that and exploited your children. I have nothing to do with that. What I paid for was tasteful movies. Tasteful movies where there was some nudity and some good love making. Because I used to like to see a character I like a little bit back. I must admit I was a little hotty. Don't mind I wasn't getting to do them rudeness, but I used to like to see them kiss and things. So like the Notebook. I remember every time I see Ryan Gosling and her kiss in the Notebook, I start feeling fluttery and start crying and start blushing and start feeling all like, oh, you know? And then when they went in the abandoned house and they were together for the very first time, it's like, oh, that is what I paid for. That kind of level of nastiness. This is what I'm talking about. Barebackness. And in the adult entertainment industry, what I paid for was nothing like what people said I paid for. You weren't seeing any penetration at all. It was mostly nudity, but kissing. Plenty kissing, plenty nudity, but you wasn't seeing any body parts exposed. You understand? I wouldn't say exposed, sorry, but penetration. You weren't seeing any penetration. There was just nakedness, kissing, and whatever, but no penetration. That was the level of entertainment that I invested in. I'm being honest. All right? I'm being honest about it. I don't care. Because everybody had to kiss. As I said, as a child, I said it. As a teenager, I would say, I said, everybody have to kiss. And when you're married, everybody have to have sex in order to make babies. I'm not going to let people show themselves in camera, have sex. But they can show a little nudity if they want. That's it. You'll sign off on that? Yeah. But we put in your mouth where your money is, eh? Yeah. So I remember grandfather hearing about it and quarreling. What? Did they get my granddaughter involved in down there? So she wants to invest in the adult entertainment industry. What? And that's when the whole Playboy Mansion bunny stories happened for us. Where me and good old M had to talk our way through, and all the other guys and girls had to walk through with their bikinis and trunks, and that was it for us. That was it. We were supervised in everything that we did. And that was our parents' way of laughing at us. All you want to show up, all you want to show all your thing off to the world, come. And they used to embarrass us. Imagine I not up and crying down the case because everybody watching me on the beach. They practicing good. And you're shame. You're in the salt water and you're crying and you're saying, you're crying there? No, the salt water salt. You're crying. What's your shame? And that's just because you have on a tank top and a piece of panty or something in front of relatives who is male and senior, and you're ashamed, you're crying on it. But the minute they step out the picture and it's only young people again, it's laugh and kicks and run down and tell down and jump it up on top one another and laughing. The minute the seniors step in again and the mothers and fathers step in, it's not only making them no. Always ladies and always young men, always supposed to conduct yourself as such a this thing where they're talking about going in pornography and thing out there, you better know different. Yes, auntie. Yes, auntie. And this is true stories. True stories. I'll just make it very clear. Have a wonderful day and wonderful night. And I'm so happy, piece by piece, dear Henry, dear old Henry. Piece by piece, I will be collecting my trillions of dollars from you. Mwah. Oh, by the way, I haven't read your book yet. I haven't read your book Spears yet. I have seen it. You're gonna contact your little sister. You look so much more attractive and sexy in your uniform. And if I were you, I would have put a militant figure on it. Or one with you in trunks. That would have got women screaming because they would have had sex appeal and they would have run it down to see what's in it, as opposed to just your face. You're handsome. I'm not saying no, but in a world where there's COVID and people not able to touch people, they are relying on their inner imagination to keep themselves romantically alive. So what your book should have done was give them a little bit more than just your face to keep that imagination vivid. If you understand what I'm trying to say, dear old brother. Because you're sexy and you're masculine and you're from a place. You have appeal and you're rich. So you wanted to show them that side of you and not just your face. Now, I haven't read your book. I'm not, there's a saying, don't judge a book by its cover, but I start judging from the cover, going all the way down to the end. So as soon as I get my hands on enough money to buy myself a copy, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to read it. And I want you to do the same. I wrote the book myself. It's called Written with a Purpose, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Part 1 and 2 has been completed. Part 3, the book Leaf Publishing is the name of the publishers. They have been working on sending me back Part 3. And unfortunately, I haven't gotten Part 3 back to do the final edits because their system crashed. And because their system crashed, they had some glitches and whatnot. They had to manually do back everything. So I don't know if they're embarrassed to tell me if they've lost my work or what. And then they said the issue was resolved. So nonetheless, if I read your book, you have to read mine. And you have to be very honest. Because mine, it's fictional, but some of the elements to the story are very much your little sister's real life events, real life experiences, and real life events, real life situations. All right. So some of it was from my younger years growing up. Some of it with granddads visiting. Some of it with past relationships, stuff like that. So that's my way of letting you know who your little sister was growing up, and not just the nakedness that everybody saw, the short pants wearing girl and the skate wearing girl that everybody saw and thought that was all there was to me. All right. So the money didn't come in because of those things, their old brother. It came in because of much more. So as fast as I remember, I know you're an honorable man and you will be keeping tabs, and I can't wait for you to start depositing it in my account where they will make sure I have it, because I'm not getting any money in my account from anybody. And that goes out to anybody who have been sending donations or anything to me. I'm not getting it. I'm not receiving anything. There's nothing that goes into my account from anybody anyway. All right, so I'm just making that clear to the world and to you. Should in case people tell you that they have been sending things for me, I haven't received anything. And that's for everybody in the family whom we have been trying to help. Especially when I got contracted COVID-19 and after grandfather's death, a lot of people knew I would be distraught. And they were trying to send stuff for me and I didn't get anything. All right. So there will be times when I'll be hungry, nothing, a place to stay, and it's not comfortable enough. All right. And I am not picky. Everybody know me. I'm not picky. Once the place is clean and safe and comfortable, I'm happy. All right. But if I'm complaining, we'll have to start complaining. They've shifted away from that and it's unsafe or it's dirty or it's really uncomfortable. All right. So I just want to say thank you. And you made me a promise. You said when grandfather gave you those things to give to me, because I didn't have a US account, you said I had more money than you and I was younger than you. If I justify how I got it, you will give every cent back to me. That is what I'm doing, step by step. Each time I remember an invention, each time I remember an investment, each time I remember everything. So you have to honor me and give me back my money, dear Henry. I love you. Bye-bye. Love everybody. Love Lily. She's gorgeous and adorable. But Archibald, that little boy has my heart. Take good care of him. Please don't let anybody kidnap him or exchange him with somebody else. Mind, body, and spirit. The boy is a super mega star. All right? A perfectly heterosexual superstar. Have a wonderful night, a wonderful day, a wonderful life. Looking forward to meeting everybody soon. Bye-bye. Love you.